Isaiah chapter 17. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus will cease as a city and will become a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They will be for flocks. They will lie down and no one will frighten them. The fortress will also cease from Ephraim and the kingdom from Damascus. The remnant of Aram will be like the glory of Bnei Israel. It is the declaration of Adonai Tsabaoth. Now in that day Jacob's glory will fade, and the fatness of his flesh will lean. It will be as when the harvester gathers the stranding grain and reaps the heads with his arm, as when one gleans grain in the valley of Rephaim. Only gleanings will remain, as when beatings an olive tree, 2 or 3 olives at the very top, 4 or 5 on a fruitful tree's branches. It is a declaration of Adonai, God of Israel. In that day a man will look to his master, and his eyes will turn to the Holy One of Israel. He will not look to the altars, the work of his hands, nor will he look to what his fingers have made, neither the Asherah poles nor the sun images. In that day the strong cities will be like forsaken forests and treetops that were abandoned. Because of Bnei Israel, they will be laid waste. For you have forgotten the God of your salvation, and you have not remembered the rock of your strength. Therefore you plant delightful plants and set out exotic vines. In the day that you plant, you fence it in, and in the morning you made your seed to sprout. But the harvest will be a heap, in a day of grief and incurable pain. Oi, the uproar of many peoples, who roar like the roaring of the seas, the rumbling of nations, who rush in like the rumbling of mighty waters. The nations will rush in like the rumbling of many waters, but he will rebuke them, so they will flee far away, chesed like chaff. So they will flee far away, chased like chaff on the hills before the wind, like hurling dust before the storm. At evening time, sudden terror. Before morning, they are no more. This is the reward of those who plunder us, and the lot of those who pillage us. Chapter 18. Oi, the land of whoring wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that stands ambassadors by sea in papyrus vessels upon the water. Go, swift messengers, to a nation tall and smooth-skinned, to a people feared far and wide, a nation powerful and oppressive, those whose land the rivers divide, all you inhabitants of the world and dwellers on earth. When a banner is raised on the mountains, look. When a shofar is blown, listen. For so Adonai has said to me, I will remain quiet and look from my dwelling place, like shimmering heat in sunshine, like a cloud of dew in harvest heat. For before the harvest, as soon as blossoming is over and flower becomes ripening grape, he will cut off the shoots with pruning knives. He will cut back and remove the twigs. They will be left together for the mountain birds of prey and the beasts of the land. The birds of prey will summer on them, and all the beasts of the land will winter upon them. At that time tribute will be brought to Adonai Tsabaoth from a nation tall and smooth-skinned, from a people feared far and wide, a nation powerful and oppressive, whose land the rivers divide, to the place of the name of Adonai Tsabaoth, Mount Zion. Chapter 19. The burden of Egypt. Behold, Adonai rides upon a swift cloud and comes to Egypt. Egypt's idols tremble before him, and Egypt's heart melts within them. I will stir up Egyptian against Egyptian. Everyone will fight against his brother, and everyone against his brother, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. The spirit of Egypt will drain within it. I will confuse its counsel, so they will resort to idols, charmers, mediums, and familiar spirits. I will give the Egyptians into the hand of a cruel master. A fierce king will rule over them. It is a declaration of Adonai Tsabaoth. The waters from the sea will dry up, and the river will drain dry. Then the channels will stink, the streams of Egypt will dwindle and dry up, reeds and rushes will rot. The bulrushes by the Nile, by the mouth of the Nile, and everything sown by the Nile will wither, blow away, and be no more. Then the fishermen will lament, all who cast hooks in the Nile will mourn, and those who spread nets on the waters will languish. Moreover, the workers of the fine flax and the weavers of white cloth will be ashamed. Her pillars will be crushed. All hired workers will be grieved in soul. The princes of Zoan are utter fools. Pharaoh's wisest counselors are stupid. How can you say to Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise and the son of ancient kings? Where then are your wise men? Let them tell you now. Let them know what Adonai Tzavaot has purposed against Egypt. The princes of Zoan are fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. The cornerstone of her tribes have led Egypt astray. Adonai has mixed within her a spirit of dizziness. They make Egypt stagger in every work. As a drunkard staggers in his vomit, there will be no work for Egypt to do, for head or tail, palm branch or rush. In that day, Egypt will be like a woman trembling with fear because of the shaking hand of Adonai Tzavaot, which he is about to wave over it. The land of Judah will terrify Egypt. Anyone who mentioned it will be afraid because of what Adonai Tzavaot has surely purposed against it. In that day, 5 cities in the land of Egypt will speak of the language of Canaan, swearing allegiance to Adonai Tzavaot. One used to be called the city of the sun. In that day, there will be an altar to Adonai in the middle of the land of Egypt, next to the border, a pillar to Adonai. It will be a sign and a witness to Adonai Tzavaot in the land of Egypt, where they will cry to Adonai because of oppressors, and he will send them a savior and a defender, and he will deliver them. So Adonai will make himself known to Egypt, and the Egypt will know Adonai in that day. They will worship with sacrifice and offering. They will vow to Adonai and fulfill it. So Adonai will strike Egypt, striking yet healing. So they will return to Adonai, and he will respond to them and heal them. In that day there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come to Egypt, and the Egyptians to Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day Israel will be third, along with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth. For Adonai Tzavaot has blessed, saying, Blessed is Egypt, my people, and Assyria, my handiwork, and Israel, my inheritance. Chapter 20. In the year that Tartan came to Ashdod, when Sargon, the king of Assyria, set him, and he fought against Ashdod and captured it. At that time Adonai spoke by Isaiah the son of Amos, saying, Go, remove the sackcloth from your loins, and your sandals from your feet. So he did so, walking naked and barefoot. Then Adonai said, Just as my servant Isaiah has walked naked barefoot for 3 years, as a sign and a wonder against Egypt and Ethiopia, so will the king of Assyria lead away the captives of Egypt and exiles of Ethiopia, young and old, naked and barefoot, with their buttocks uncovered to Egypt's shame. So they will be dismayed and ashamed, because they hoped in Ethiopia and boasted in Egypt. Then the inhabitants of the coastland will say in that day, Look, such is our hope, that there we fled for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria. Now how will we escape? Chapter 21. The burden of the desert by the sea. As windstorms sweep over the south, so it comes from the desert, a terrifying land. A harsh vision has been shown to me. The traitor betrays, and the plunderer plunders. Go up, Elam, besiege Midia. I have put an end to all her groaning. Therefore my body is filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold of me, like the pangs of a woman in labor. I am bewildered by what I hear, terrified by what I see. My heart is bewildered. Terror overwhelms me. The twilight I longed for has been turned into trembling. Set the table, spread out the sackcloth. Eat, drink, rinse up, you princess, oil the shield. For Adonai has said to me, Go, post a watchman. Let him declare what he sees. When he sees a chariot with a pair of horsemen, riders on donkeys and riders on camels, let him pay attention, very close attention. Then he cried out like a lion. Upon the watchtower, Adonai, I stand continually in the daytime and stay at my post every night. Look, here comes a chariot of men with a pair of horsemen. Then one answered and said, Fallen, fallen is Babylon. All the images of her gods are broken on the ground. O my people crushed on the threshing floor. What I heard from Adonai Tzavaot, God of Israel, I have declared to you. The burden of Duma, one calls to me from Seir, Watchman, what is left of the night? Watchman, what is left of the night? The watchman said, Morning comes, yet also it is night. If you would inquire, come back again. The burden of Arabia, in the desert brush of Arabia, you will stay for the night. You caravans of Dedanites. To him who is thirsty, bring water. Inhabitants of the land of Tema, meet the fugitive with food, for they fled with swords from drawn sword, from bent bow and distress of war. For thus Adonai said to me, within a year, as with the years of hired worker, all the glory of Kedar will cease, and the remainder of the number of the archers, the mighty men of the sons of Kedar, will be few. For Adonai, God of Israel, has spoken. Chapter 22. The burden of the valley of vision. What is the matter with you now? For you have gone up to the rooftops. You are full of noise, a boisterous city, an exultant town. Your dead were not slain of the sword, nor dead in battle. All your rulers have fled together, and captured without a bow. All who were caught were taken into exile together, though they had fled far off. Therefore I said, Look away from me. Let me weep bitterly. Don't try to comfort me about the ruin of the daughter of my people. For my Lord Adonai Sabaoth has a day of panic, trampling and confusion in the valley of vision, of tearing down a wall, catastrophe on the mountain. Elam took up the quiver with chariots of men and horsemen, and Kir uncovered the shield. So it will come to pass that your choicest valleys will be full of chariots and horsemen posted at the gate. So he will expose Judah's defense, and in that day you will look for the armor in the forest house. Then you will see the breaches in the walls of the city of David, for there will be many. Though you collect the water of the lower pool, though you counted the houses of Jerusalem, you broke down the houses to fortify. So you will come to pass that your choicest valleys will be full of chariots and horsemen posted at the gate. So you will expose Judah's defense, and in that day you will look for the armor in the forest house. Then you will see the breaches in the walls of the city of David, for they will be many. Though you collect the water of the lower pool, though you counted the houses of Jerusalem, you broke down the houses to fortify the wall. You even made a reservoir between the two walls of the water of the old pool, but you did not look to the Maker or consider the one who planned it long before. Now in that day Adonai Elohei Sabaoth will call for weeping and wailing, for baldness and putting on sackcloth, but instead there is joy and gladness, slaughtering cattle and killing sheep, meat and drinking wine. Let's eat and drink, for tomorrow we will die. But Adonai Tzavaot revealed in my ears, surely this sin will not be atoned for until you die, says my Lord Adonai Tzavaot. Thus says my Lord Adonai Tzavaot, Go, say to the steward, to Shebna, who is over the house, What are you doing here, and who are you to be here, that you cut out a grave for yourself, carving out a tomb on the height? chiseling a crypt for yourself in the rock. Behold, strong man, Adonai is about to hurl you headlong and seize you firmly. He will roll you up tightly and toss you like a ball into a large country. There you will die, and your glorious chariots will be the shame of your master's house. I will remove you from your post and pull you down from your station. And that day I will summon my servant Eliakim, son of Hilkiah. I will clothe him in your robe and fasten your sash on him. I will give your authority into your hands, so he will be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. I will set the key of the house of David upon his shoulder. What he opens, no one can shut. What he shuts, and no one can open. I will fasten him as a peg in a firm place, and he will be a throne of honor to his father's house. They will hang all the glory of his father's house on him, offspring and posterity, all the small vessels from bowls and to all the jars. In that day, says Adonai Tzavaot, the peg that was fastened in a firm place will give way, break away and fall, and the load that was on it will be cut off, for Adonai has spoken.